Rangers pulled off a dramatic comeback after going 2 goals down away to Aberdeen, but let's no kid ourselves. The performance left a lot to be desired. Aye, they managed to salvage a point in the dying minutes, but the way the team played for large spells of that match raised more questions than answers, especially on the back of that grim midweek display against Athletic Bilbao. Supporters were expecting a reaction, a bit of fire in the belly, and instead what they got was a first half that looked more like a testimonial than a top flight scrap. Now we've got some massive news brewing about Barry Ferguson. A twist in the tale that could well change the future direction of the club. But before we dive into that, let's talk about what really set tongues wagging yesterday, the attitude, or better yet, the lack of it, on display at Pittodrie. Rangers looked like a side without purpose, without urgency, and without a plan. And that's not just the opinion of punters in the stands or fans screaming on social media. Club legend Chris Boyd came out absolutely seething at halftime, and he didn't hold back. Boyd never wanted to mince his words, let rip on live telly saying some of the lads on the pitch shouldn't be allowed near the first team again. And you can see where he's coming from. Aberdeen were 2 goals to the goodbye the break thanks to strikes from Clarkson and Guy. And to make matters worse, Ross McCausland got himself sent off with 2 daft bookings. The first one maybe looked soft on his own, but after a few fouls in the build-up, you could feel it coming. The second day argument, it was a shocker of a tackle. Boyd was fuming with what he called a complete lack of fight. And you know what, he's right. This is Rangers we're talking about. You put on that badge, you fight for it. You give everything. And yet too many players looked like they were just going through the motions, almost as if they were passengers in their own downfall. Danilo, a striker brought in for 5 million quid, barely got a sniff. And when he did, he looked completely out of sorts. There was nae intensity, nae pressing, nae hunger, and Boyd nailed it when he said a lot of these lads had been chapping on the manager's door asking for a chance, but when they got it, they vanished. From a supporter's perspective, it was embarrassing. You travel all that way, you sing your heart out for the club, and you watch your team roll over in the first half like a bunch of strangers. And this isn't just about one game, it's part of a bigger pattern that's starting to emerge under Barry Ferguson's interim stewardship. Now, don't get me wrong. Barry's a club legend, a captain that gave everything during his time on the pitch, but the pressure on him now is intense. Sources close to the club are starting to whisper that unless Ferguson does something monumental, and we're talking win the Europa League monumental, he won't be offered the job on a permanent basis. The board's holding off, making any decision until the season wraps up, and with changes happening at the top, including talk of the 49ers investment group trying to bring in Arsenal's Jason 8 as part of the new structure. It feels like everything's in limbo right now. Ferguson's record away from home has actually been quite solid. Wins over Celtic, Kilmarnock, Fenerbahce and Dundee show he's got a tactical brain when it comes to tricky fixtures on the road. But it's the home form that's letting him down badly. That draw against Bilbao, it was the first time in 6 matches Rangers avoided defeat at Ibrox. That's no good enough. Not for this club. Not for these fans. And so Barry finds himself in a near impossible position. The fans love him, no doubt. He's one of their own. But love doesn't win trophies. Results do. And unless there's silverware in May, it's looking less and less likely that he'll be the man leading the team into the next campaign. Back to Pittodrie. And the scenes were wild in stoppage time when Hagi smashed in a 96-minute equalizer to delay Celtic's title. Party. The goal sparked absolute bedlam among the away support, and in that one moment you could see what it meant. Hagi, who's been at the center of speculation about his future, came out after the game and put all the rumors to bed. Stories were flying around in Romania that he was ready to walk away from Ibrox, but the man himself came out swinging. He said he's never once said he wanted to leave. In fact, he said the exact opposite, that he loves this club and he'll do anything for it. Now, whether or not that means he signs a new deal is still up in the air, but you've got to admire the timing. When his team needed him most, he stepped up. And it's no small thing either. Rescuing a point with 10 men on the pitch against a fired-up Aberdeen side in their own backyard is no easy feat. But amidst the chaos and the late drama, there's real concern over the growing injury list. Rafael Fernandez handed a rare start lasted just 20 minutes before pulling up and being forced off. It was only his 4th appearance since joining. On loan, and with Barry Ferguson resting key players ahead of the second leg against Bilbao, that reshuffle backfired quickly. Club captain James Tavernier had come on much earlier than expected, without even getting a proper warm-up. Connor Barron, who'd been given the captain's armband for the first time, had passed it over just 20 minutes into the match. It was supposed to be a proud moment for the lad, but ended abruptly thanks to injury chaos. And that's the worry now heading into a week that could define the season. Rangers can't afford any more setbacks. They need bodies fit mind sharp and every ounce of focus locked in on that return leg against Bilbao. One mistake and it's done. One moment of brilliance and it's history. So here we are heading into what might just be the most important week of the season for Rangers, and everything's still hanging by a thread. The Europa League second leg against Athletic Club could either make or break Barry Ferguson's spell in charge, and let's no beat around the bush, the pressure is absolutely sky high. After a cagey 0-0 draw at Ibrox in the first leg, it's all to play for in Spain, but the girls will need to produce something really special to get through. That draw might have felt like a small victory at the time, especially after going 5 home games without a win, but the truth isn't. Only papers over the cracks. Robin Proper's red card and Liam Kelly's penalty save helped keep the tie alive, but Rangers were far from convincing. There was a sense of relief more than pride at full time. And now heading into the cauldron that is San Mamés they'll need. Composure, courage, and clinical finishing. 3 things that have been sorely lacking in recent weeks. And that's where the debate around Ferguson heats up again. Look, there's no questioning the man's loyalty to the badge. He bleeds Rangers blue, always has, always will. But loyalty alone does not win matches in Europe. Tactically, he's shown flashes. That win away to Fenerbahce was brilliant. The triumph over Celtic had folk dreaming, and the performance at Rugby Park was full of grit. But the inconsistency, especially at Ibrox, is starting to tell. The fans can feel it. The board can feel it. And the players, well, it's hard to tell what some of them are feeling at all, to be honest. There's still a real disconnect. On the pitch, one moment they're playing slick, fast, aggressive football, and the next they're retreating, second-guessing themselves, losing the ball in dangerous areas. It's like they're caught between styles, a team trying to rebuild. In the middle of a storm, and Barry, for all his passion, looks like a man carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. What makes things even murkier is the situation off the pitch. The rumblings behind the scenes at Ibrox are getting louder by the day. With the 49ers enterprises poised to increase their influence, there's talk of major changes at board level. Jason 8 from Arsenal's setup is reportedly being lined up for a senior role, and if he comes in, he'll almost certainly have a big say in who takes the managerial reins next season. That's why the decision around Ferguson isn't just about results, it's about the direction of the club long term. At the moment, there's a feeling of limbo. The board's playing it cautious, waiting till the end of the season before making any concrete calls. And fair enough, there's still silverware up for grabs. But time's ticking, and if the performances don't improve, it's hard to see how Barry hangs on no matter how many famous nights he's given us in the past. It also doesn't help that Steven Gerrard, once tipped for a potential return under the new regime, seems to have distanced himself from the job. Whether that's down to personal choice or signals from within the club is unclear, but it leaves the door wide open for new names to emerge. There's been whispers of interest from abroad, a few left field candidates, even former players looking to make their way into management. But right now there's no front runner, no clear plan, just speculation and shadows. Meanwhile, inside the dressing room, there's uncertainty brewing as well. The late equalizer against Aberdeen gave the squad a brief lift, but for many players the pressure's still on. Contracts are running down, and there's a real sense that some are already playing for their futures, either at Ibrox or somewhere else. Take Yanis Hagi, for example. His dramatic late goal might have bought some time and goodwill, but everyone knows his deal's nearly up. And while he said all the right things publicly, that he loves the club, that he wants to stay, the business side of football has a habit of complicating the heart. Then there's the injury headaches. Rafael Fernandez, brought in on loan and barely seen since January, finally got his chance only to limp off after 20 minutes. He looked devastated as he came off, and you can't blame him. The lad was desperate to make an impression, and now he's facing yet another spell on the sidelines. James Tavernier had to come on without even getting a proper warm-up, which says a lot about the current depth of the squad. They're stretched thin, and every knock feels like another setback at the worst possible time. That's the thing. Oh, this season's felt like a constant uphill battle. Every time it seems like the team's building momentum, something happens to derail it. A poor performance, a soft red card, a daft penalty, an injury to a key player. And through it all, Barry Ferguson's been trying to hold the fort. You've got to admire his fight. You can see he cares. You can see it eats him up when the team lets him down. But football is a brutal game, and emotion can only carry you so far. The next match then is monumental. It's more than just a European quarterfinal. It's a crossroads. Win and Ferguson breathes life back into his campaign. To stay on as manager, lose, and the questions get louder. The pressure intensifies. The fan base becomes more divided. And for a club like Rangers with expectations sky high and history always watching, there's no room for sentiment when results stop coming. Ferguson knows that. He said as much in recent interviews. He knows the standards, he's lived them. And he knows that the only thing that matters right now is finding a way past Bilbao and keeping the dream alive. The players need to match that energy. They need to stop looking over their shoulders, stop playing with fear, and go out there with the belief that they belong on that stage. The fans deserve that. They've backed this team through thick and thin, from the higher European finals to the heartbreak of near misses. They've seen legends come and go, rebuild, start and stumble, but one thing's never changed there: loyalty. All they ask in return is commitment, passion, and pride in a jersey. And if the players can't give that, then they've no place in this squad. Not now, not ever. So here we are, 1 foot in crisis, 1 foot in glory. It could all go either way. The season hangs in a balance, and Rangers are staring down a week that could shape the next few years. Barry Ferguson's fate, the squad's identity, even the mood in the stands, it all comes down to what happens on that pitch in Spain. It's just another game. It's a defining moment, and if there was ever a time for this team to find their courage, their unity, their spark, it's now. Because comebacks are fine, last-minute goals are thrilling, but the mark of a great side is consistency, strength in adversity, and a belief that you can walk into any stadium in Europe and make your presence felt. That's what Rangers have done before. That's what they need to do again. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Imagine, Ibrox, without James Tavernier, a scenario that once seemed unthinkable is now echoing louder with each passing day. Whispers are swirling around Glasgow, and fans are beginning to ask the unaskable: is Tavernier really on his way out? Since his arrival in 2015, Tavernier has been more than just a right back. He's been the heartbeat of Rangers. Over 500 appearances, more than 130 goals, countless defining moments. From lifting the Scottish Premiership to breaking records as the highest scoring defender in British football history, Tavernier has etched his name deep into Rangers folklore. But now, as transfer rumors gain traction, there's a storm of speculation over whether the captain is preparing for his final act in blue. Sources close to the club hint at interest from overseas, particularly from ambitious MLS sides and even teams in the Saudi Pro League. At 33, Tavernier still commands immense value, both on and off the pitch. Yet for Rangers, the dilemma is as emotional as it is strategic. Can the club afford to lose its captain, talisman, and most consistent performer? And more importantly, can they find anyone to fill those boots? Supporters are split. Some believe it's time to pass the torch, arguing that Tavernier deserves a final big contract elsewhere after giving his prime to the badge. Others see any potential exit as a devastating blow to the dressing room and a gamble at the worst possible time, especially with the league title race tighter than ever. The thought of Tavernier not leading the line at Ibrox sends shivers down spines. As the summer window approaches, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. If Tavernier truly is considering a farewell, it won't just be the end of a chapter. It'll be the end of an era. And for the Rangers faithful, it'll be a test of loyalty, legacy, and letting go. Stay tuned. This could be the transfer saga that defines the summer. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comment section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.